Hey listeners, are you thinking about starting your own podcast? Well, do I have the app for you? It's called Anchor. Anchor will get you out on Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and many others. Not only that, Anchor will find you sponsorship so you can get paid. That again is Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm. Welcome to Abe's Front Porch Talk. Let's get started tonight. I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast, and I am talking to you about a Native American prophecy called the Rainbow Warriors. As I was just reassuring myself on some of the things that I'm going to talk about and go over, I found some more stuff online that a lot of people don't believe in the rainbow prophecy. They just believe it was something made up or it came from somewhere else and not the Native Americans. But, that's going to be another podcast for another time if I decide to do that. But this is something I found last week, actually. And I've been thinking about it and studying up on it and doing a lot of meditating about this. And I believe it's true. And a lot of ways this rainbow prophecy that comes from what they call rainbow warriors. And I'm going to be reading what I've got pulled up online right now. The Warriors of the Rainbow Prophecy. And I'm going to be reading some of this and speaking about what I read. And to me, it seems like what we already know from Genesis to Revelation. And how things are supposed to actually go. So, let's move on and let's hear what I'm going to read here online. And now, I'm not going to read everything on this page because it's so long. I just want to get the main points or the main points that called out to me and just wanted to share this with you. So here, let's go. One day there will come a time when the earth being ravaged and polluted, the forest being destroyed, the birds would fall from the air, the waters would be blackened, the fish being poisoned in the streams, and the trees would no longer be. Mankind, as we would know it, would all but cease to exist. And you know what I take out of this paragraph? I get out of this one paragraph is what we're seeing going on today. And we're seeing all these things taking place. And, look at the nuclear plant over in Japan that melted down. Or, well, I said melted down. When the earthquake happened, and, they had that meltdown. And all the radiation got out into the sea. Then it turned out later that with the fish of the sea that we was eating, they said there were certain type of fish that you couldn't eat, or you couldn't eat the fish of the sea at that time because of all the radiation, and that fish had gotten into the radiation and it could get into your system. Do you guys remember that? I remember seeing some of that on the news, and you had to be careful with certain types of fish or all the fish. It was so long ago. And, and reading this about the waters will be blackened, the fish being poisoned in the streams. Well, think about it. All that radiation from that nuclear plant got into the streams of the water and poisoned the fish. And they tell you beware of the fish you eat now. But I don't know, since that was back, 7 or 8 years ago now, if a lot of that's changed, if they were able to get most of the fish out, but the water was still contaminated. So I don't know how they done that, but that point is you couldn't eat the fish there for a while, or you wasn't supposed to eat the fish. And then, you know, look at the forest being destroyed. Look what happened in Brazil with the forest there. And it caught on fire and spread rapidly. And look what it destroyed, the lives of the animals who live, the wildlife. You're not supposed to touch the homes of the wildlife. And look here in America how many wildfires we've had in America. And not only the wildfires, but look at the homes we destroyed of the wildlife. Nobody cares about the homes of the wildlife but throw them in a cage. But you as a human being don't want them coming into your house, destroying your house. But you can go and bring all this destruction by destroying their homes. And every place has somewhere they need to live. Wildlife has got theirs. Quit destroying the earth. Stop doing what you're doing with this pollution and going cutting trees down and not planting another tree back in its place. People don't realize when you cut a tree down, you cut a living thing down that God created to help us. You took away from Mother Nature. You took away from Mother Earth. And she cries and weeps when you make these changes. Look at these subdivisions that's out here now. They go into these wooded areas and they will clear out the woods and build subdivisions. And you don't even think nothing about living in your nice $200,000, $300,000 home in these subdivisions with all these rules and regulations. But you help destroy nature. You took away from Mother Nature. And you know, in my local town, or in a town near me, should I say, there's a park that a lot of people likes going. And I used to love going to this park. And it has a pond in this park, and it goes across the street, and you can walk across the road to the other side of the park too. And it goes a long ways, and it's very beautiful. And it had a sidewalk where you could walk through the park on the sidewalk. Well, the city went in and rearranged this. And there was an island in this pond with a tree, and ducks were there in this park. And the ducks used to go over and get on the island, and they would lay up under that tree. Now, needless to say, the city came in and just destroyed this park. They think they done a better job and did such a beautiful job with it. And they tore the island down that was in the middle of the pond. Now, needless to say, I agree the tree may needed to be cut down because I believe the tree might have been dead or something. But still, they shouldn't have done away with that island. What they should have done was fix that little island up and planted another tree in its place, because the tree did look pretty old. Or done some work to make it look lively or something, you know. But they didn't. They took all of that out, added concrete into it, made that circle a little bit bigger for the water to go, for the fish to swim in. They took some of the grassy areas that the sidewalks went between, extended the sidewalk out, and there used to be these beautiful bushes along the sidewalks of this park. And as you walked on this one sidewalk, it went to one side of the street to where you could go across the street to the other side of the park, or further down on the other side, every which way you decide you wanted to go. And these bushes were there. And they were beautiful. They cut those bushes down. They're no longer there, and added more sidewalk in the place of where these bushes used to be. And there's a little bridge in the middle of the park that you could walk across. And they had bushes, beautiful bushes that grew. And they had beautiful flowers on them. They cut those down and turned all of that into solid concretes and made steps to go down to where you could see the pond more. And when I first seen after they done what they did and went into this park, something grieved me in this park. I felt such a depression spirit. And it was such a grievance on this place that I thought to myself, this is not right. Something here is not settling with me right on this. I'm so grieved. It felt like losing a loved one. You know when you lose a loved one and you get so grieved and you are in tears over this person? This is how I felt. Even like losing an animal. I felt this way, and I told a friend of mine I was with, I looked at her and I said, whoever came in and decided to do all these changes, I said, this park is not the same. They have grieved God over this. I said, he is grieving. And I said, there are spirits that's grieving over this too. And I said, the spirits of these trees and things that were here, and now it's all concreted. And a lot of people likes it like this. They think it looks nice. But you can't mess with nature and get by with it. For Mother Nature will come back and Mother Nature will destroy you. And it will destroy you. God is the Father of all creation. And He gave us earth to take care of and to plow the ground. Not to pollute it and destroy it. These bushes were not old enough to be cut down. They still had plenty of life in them where they could lasted another 100 years or longer. And they were shortened by being chopped to pieces. You think you can take a human's life and go to jail, but you can cut down bushes just to build homes and these trees, but you're taking away from wildlife. Now, I said this isn't right. And I went back once more after that and still felt this grievance. I don't go back to the park anymore. And I'm not saying I won't never go back, but I do not go back to this park as much as I did. And I may had only went twice since they made it the way they did. If you walk through this park and you can't feel the grievance of God over this, something is highly wrong with you. And those of you who made this decision and saying it looks beautiful like this and it's been needing it, I'm here to tell you, you're barking up the wrong tree now. Because you will face God for destroying nature. And Mother Earth will come back and destroy you for destroying her earth. So, and it even says here in that paragraph, the birds will fall from the air. Well, where do birds live at? In trees. Okay, if you're cutting down the rainforest and wildfires are happening and burning them up, they're losing their homes due to fire like you would your own home. And they have nowhere else to go. So, and you know, there was a time when people couldn't understand birds was just falling out of the sky. Something happened to the birds and they were sick, and it was thousands of them. Nobody knew what was going on. I also think last year in 2019, birds had a flu, and and it was getting taken from one place to the other. And especially if you had chickens, you couldn't go from one farm to the other farm until they could figure out how to kill this bird flu that was killing the farmers' chickens, because it was transferring on your feet. Do y'all remember that? Do you remember about this? And it was killing the birds? See, this sounds so real. The warriors of the rainbow prophecy. And mankind will but cease to exist. We need to leave Mother Earth alone. We need to leave this place alone and let God create his living things, all the creatures. Leave the plants alone. Yes, we're to help take care of it. And we're to keep the trees trimmed, and we're to keep things looking good. But to go in to destroy, to build businesses and big corporations and big retailers and take away from these nice parks to build sidewalks on and make it more concrete and just destroy from nature and take it away for man to enjoy, we're wrong. We are wrong. I wished you guys could see how the park looked before. Those of you that's never been to this park, to know what it looked like. Now they got bicycles at this park where you can ride bicycles through the park. Used to you couldn't do that. You just were able to walk through the park. They had bird feeders there. You wasn't allowed to take bread and throw bread down on the ground to the ducks because something about the bread was getting into the water and the fish were eating it. Anyways, but they had seeds where you could stick a quarter in the machine and feed the ducks that way with the bird feed. And, but to take away like they did is awful. And the way we're doing. And as I look around and I see sod farms coming up and taking away the woods and just clearing out the woods, and then the wildlife is running. They're losing their homes each day because of man. And then man wants to turn around and kill the wildlife and then turn around and have these wildlife mounted into statues hanging on their walls or sitting in a corner of their house. And I've talked about this before. God's not pleased with us on this. We need to learn how to respect wildlife. We need to learn how to respect our trees and the flowers and all the things that Mother Earth can give us that God's created. God is the creator. Earth is the mother. And everything that Mother Earth births out, we should take care of it, not kill it, not destroy it. Respect everything that's in the earth. Show respect for it. But there's going to be a part 2 to this. I wasn't expecting going to be a part 2 because I was not expecting to say all that I did. But it needed to be said. So stay tuned to tomorrow night for a part 2 of the Warriors of the Rainbow Prophecy. Thank you for listening to Abe's Front Porch Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. Check me out on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe over on YouTube at Abe's Front Porch Talk. All you got to do is type Abe's Front Porch Talk in the Google search bar. It'll pull me up on several platforms. It'll even show my YouTube account. Check my videos out there on YouTube. If you like to sponsor Abe's Front Porch Talk, check for the sponsor button on Anchor, Spotify, or any other podcast apps. And your donation will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good day.